Sarah had always been an adventurous and fearless girl, but nothing could have prepared her for the chilling encounter she was about to experience. It started with a strange feeling that lingered in the air whenever she entered her bedroom. The atmosphere seemed heavy, and an inexplicable sense of unease settled deep within her. One night, as Sarah lay in bed, her heart racing with anticipation, she noticed a flicker of movement out of the corner of her eye. She turned her gaze towards the source and her blood ran cold. There, standing in the shadows, was a woman unlike any she had ever seen. Her hair was long and tangled, obscuring her face, while her tattered dress hung loosely from her frail frame. The woman's eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, and a sinister smile played upon her lips. Fear gripped Sarah's heart, and she tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. Paralyzed with terror, she could only watch as the woman slowly approached her bedside, her movements jagged and unnatural. The room seemed to grow colder, and the air turned heavy with a foreboding presence. Determined to unravel the mystery behind the terrifying apparition, Sarah delved into the history of her house. She spent countless hours at the local library, poring over dusty books and old newspapers, searching for any clue that might shed light on the woman's identity. Her research led her to a newspaper article from decades ago, a tragic tale of a woman named Evelyn who had lived in Sarah's house. According to the article, Evelyn had been a recluse, rarely seen by the townsfolk. Rumors of her involvement in dark rituals and witchcraft swirled around her name. Digging deeper, Sarah discovered that Evelyn's life had been filled with tragedy. She had suffered the loss of her entire family in a fire that had engulfed their home. Unable to cope with the grief, Evelyn had descended into madness, becoming a tormented soul trapped within the walls of her house. Sarah's heart ached for the woman who had suffered such a cruel fate. She couldn't help but wonder if the terrifying apparition she had encountered was the restless spirit of Evelyn, doomed to haunt the house for eternity. As days turned into weeks, Sarah's encounters with the sinister woman in her bedroom became more frequent and intense. The haunting began to seep into every aspect of her life, turning her once beloved home into a nightmare. During the day, Sarah would hear whispers echoing through the halls, though no one else was present. Objects would mysteriously move from their original positions, and cold drafts would send shivers down her spine. At night, the woman's presence infiltrated her dreams, transforming them into horrifying nightmares. She would wake up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding, unable to shake off the feeling of being watched. Sarah's fear grew exponentially as the haunting escalated. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets only the woman understood. Every creak and groan of the house sent her nerves into overdrive, leaving her in a constant state of anxiety. Desperate for answers, Sarah finally mustered the courage to confide in her parents about the terrifying presence that haunted her every step. However, they struggled to believe her, chalking it up to an overactive imagination and the stress of growing up. Determined to prove the existence of the haunting, Sarah reached out to a team of paranormal experts. The investigators arrived at her house armed with sophisticated equipment and a wealth of knowledge about the supernatural. They set up cameras in every room, hoping to capture evidence of the mysterious woman's presence. Night after night, the investigators monitored the cameras, analyzing the footage for any signs of paranormal activity. They recorded unexplained shadows, eerie whispers, and even instances of objects moving on their own. The evidence was undeniable. Sarah's house was indeed haunted by a malevolent spirit. Armed with the evidence collected by the paranormal investigators, Sarah steeled herself for a confrontation with the terrifying woman in her bedroom. She knew she had to face her fears head-on if she ever wanted to find peace. One moonlit night, Sarah summoned every ounce of courage within her and ventured into her bedroom. Her heart pounded in her chest as she locked eyes with the woman, her gaze filled with determination. The room grew colder, the air thick with tension. In a battle of wills, Sarah refused to be intimidated. She demanded answers from the woman, her voice steady despite the fear that coursed through her veins. The woman's eyes bore into her soul, and with a raspy voice, she began to unravel the horrifying truth. The woman revealed that she was indeed Evelyn, the tormented soul trapped within the house. She confessed to practicing dark magic in an attempt to bring her family back from the dead, but her desperate actions had only resulted in their demise and her own eternal suffering. Sarah's heart ached for Evelyn and the pain she had endured. She realized that the woman's presence was not meant to harm her, but to seek solace and forgiveness. With empathy in her eyes, Sarah vowed to help Evelyn find peace and break free from the shackles of her tragic past. Driven by determination, Sarah embarked on a quest to break the curse that held Evelyn captive. She scoured old journals, hidden compartments, and dusty attics, searching for clues that would unlock the secrets of the haunting. Through her relentless pursuit, Sarah unearthed hidden artifacts and messages left behind by Evelyn. These long-forgotten remnants revealed the steps necessary to perform a ritual that could potentially release the woman's tormented soul. With trepidation, Sarah gathered the necessary items and prepared herself for the dangerous ritual. She followed the instructions meticulously, reciting incantations and invoking ancient powers. The air crackled with energy, and the room filled with an ethereal glow as the ritual reached its climax. As the ritual concluded, a blinding light enveloped the room and Sarah felt a sense of release. Evelyn's spirit had been set free. However, the joy was short-lived, as Sarah soon realized that freedom had awakened a vengeful rage within the woman. Evelyn, consumed by bitterness and resentment, sought revenge on those she believed had wronged her. The once terrified girl now faced the wrath of the very spirit she had set out to save. Sarah refused to let fear overpower her. She tapped into her newfound knowledge of the supernatural, using her wits and resourcefulness to outsmart Evelyn's malevolent powers. She pieced together fragments of Evelyn's tragic past, seeking to understand the pain that fueled her rage. In a climactic moment, Sarah confronted Evelyn with the truth of her past, appealing to the remnants of humanity within her tortured soul. As the weight of her actions and the depth of her pain became clear, Evelyn's rage began to dissipate, replaced by a profound sense of sadness and remorse. Sarah extended a hand of compassion to Evelyn, offering her forgiveness and understanding. In that moment, Evelyn found redemption and the peace she had long yearned for. With a final sigh, her spirit dissipated, leaving behind a sense of closure in the once... With Evelyn's spirit finally at rest, a profound sense of peace settled over Sarah's house. The once ominous atmosphere transformed into one of tranquility, as if the very walls breathed a sigh of relief. No longer haunted by the terrifying woman, Sarah could finally reclaim her bedroom and regain a sense of safety within her own home. The healing process began for Sarah and her family. They supported one another through the aftermath of the haunting, finding solace in their shared experiences. The realization that they had overcome a truly terrifying ordeal brought them closer together, strengthening their bond. Sarah, in particular, underwent a transformative journey. She had faced her deepest fears head-on and emerged stronger and more resilient. The encounter with the haunting had taught her the importance of empathy and understanding, as she had witnessed firsthand the consequences of isolation, grief, and desperation. As time passed, Sarah reflected on the lessons she had learned. She realized the power of compassion in the face of darkness, the importance of seeking forgiveness and extending it to others. The haunting had become a catalyst for her personal growth, shaping her into a more empathetic and understanding individual. Though the memory of the encounter with the terrifying woman would forever be etched in Sarah's mind, she understood that it was a chapter of her life she had overcome. She moved forward with newfound strength, cherishing the sense of peace that now permeated her home. In the end, Sarah's story served as a reminder that even in the face of the most chilling and inexplicable horrors, there is always room for redemption, closure, and the capacity to find light amidst the darkness that lingers in the depths of our fears.